Story 1. Slow death comes to Times Square. As you stand amidst the bustling crowd in Times Square on New Year's Eve, the vibrant lights and joyous cheers surrounding you, a sense of unease begins to creep into your mind. You can't shake the feeling that something sinister is lurking just beneath the surface of the celebrations. The clock strikes midnight, and as the fireworks light up the sky, three figures suddenly vanish into thin air. The crowd gasps in confusion, but you can't help but feel a chill run down your spine. You know deep down that this is just the beginning of a nightmarish ordeal. The first missing person is Sarah, a young woman who had been laughing and dancing with her friends only moments before. As the search for her begins, whispers spread through the crowd, casting suspicion on those closest to her. Rumors of jealousy and betrayal swirl around, painting a dark picture of Sarah's last moments. The second missing person is Michael, a quiet and reserved man who had come to Times Square alone. His disappearance sends a wave of fear through the crowd, as people realize that anyone could be next. Paranoia sets in, turning friends against each other as they search for someone to blame. The third missing person is Emily, a teenager who had snuck out to the celebrations against her parents' wishes. As her frantic family searches for her in the sea of revelers, a sense of dread hangs heavy in the air. The realization that three people have vanished without a trace sinks in, casting a shadow over the once festive atmosphere. As the night wears on, the search for the missing persons becomes more desperate and frantic. The police are called in, but their efforts seem futile in the face of this inexplicable mystery. The crowd begins to disperse, fear and uncertainty driving them away from the once lively square. You find yourself drawn to the spot where the three vanished, a sense of foreboding weighing heavily on your heart. In the silence of the emptying square, a voice whispers in your ear, chilling you to the core. They are gone, taken by the darkness that lurks in the shadows of this world. As the first light of dawn breaks over Times Square, the truth dawns on you with a sickening certainty. The three missing persons will never be found, their fate sealed by forces beyond human comprehension. And as you turn to leave, a cold wind whispers through the empty streets, carrying with it the echoes of their final, desperate cries. Anonymous Spectator Story. Story 2. Silent Violence Home Invasion at Midnight. As the clock struck midnight on New Year's Eve, a sense of unease settled over the small town of Willow Creek. The streets were deserted, the only sound the distant echo of fireworks. In a quaint neighborhood, a young couple, Sarah and Mark, were getting ready to turn in for the night after a quiet celebration at home. Sarah couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched as she closed the curtains in the living room. Mark reassured her, attributing her paranoia to the late hour and the eerie stillness outside. However, as they settled into bed, a creaking noise downstairs shattered the silence. Heart-pounding, Sarah urged Mark to investigate. Reluctantly, he grabbed a baseball bat and crept downstairs, his senses on high alert. The living room was empty, the front door securely locked. Just as Mark turned to head back upstairs, a shadow darted across the hallway. Panic set in as they realized they were not alone in the house. Sarah dialed 911 discreetly as Mark searched every room, his breath catching at the sight of an open window in the kitchen. The frigid air seeped in, carrying with it a chilling presence that made their skin crawl. Suddenly, the lights flickered, plunging the house into darkness. Sarah's grip on the phone tightened as she heard footsteps approaching from the hallway. Adrenaline coursing through his veins, Mark confronted the intruder, only to find the figure vanish into thin air. Whispers echoed through the house, taunting them with promises of unspeakable horrors. Sarah and Mark huddled together, their only source of comfort in the face of the unknown. The police arrived swiftly, but the intruder had vanished without a trace, leaving behind a trail of dread and unanswered questions. In the days that followed, the town buzzed with speculation about the silent violence that had invaded Sarah and Mark's home. Some whispered of a malevolent presence that targeted unsuspecting victims on New Year's Eve, while others dismissed it as a mere figment of imagination. As Sarah and Mark tried to piece together the events of that fateful night, a sense of foreboding lingered in the air. The final moral of this chilling tale serves as a stark reminder that evil can lurk in the most unexpected of places, waiting to strike when least expected. Anonymous Spectator Story. Story 3. In the Name of Justice, the Disappearance at Midnight Creek. As the clock struck midnight on New Year's Eve, a sense of foreboding filled the air around Midnight Creek. The moon hung low in the sky, casting eerie shadows over the water, as three figures stood at the edge of the creek, their faces obscured by the darkness. I was drawn to the scene by a sense of unease, my footsteps echoing softly on the damp ground. As I approached, I could make out the figures more clearly. They were three young individuals, their eyes vacant and hollow, their bodies swaying slightly as if in a trance. I recognized them as Sarah, Michael, and Emma, three friends who had gone missing earlier that evening. Rumors had circulated about their involvement in a dangerous drug ring, but nothing had been confirmed. Now, here they were, standing at the edge of Midnight Creek, their fate unknown. I watched in horror as Sarah, the ringleader of the group, raised her hand and pointed towards the water. Without a word, Michael and Emma followed her lead, their movements synchronized and unnatural. It was as if they were puppets being controlled by an unseen force. As they stepped into the icy waters of the creek, a chill ran down my spine. The moonlight reflected off the surface, casting a ghostly glow over the scene. I wanted to scream out, to stop them, but fear held me in its grip. The three figures waded deeper into the creek, their bodies disappearing beneath the black water. I waited, my heart pounding in my chest, but they never resurfaced. The creek remained still and silent, as if it had swallowed them whole. In the days that followed, a search party was organized, but no trace of Sarah, Michael, or Emma was ever found. Their families were left to grieve, their hearts heavy with unanswered questions. As I stood by Midnight Creek, haunted by the memory of that fateful night, a sense of justice washed over me. The disappearance of those three young souls was a stark reminder of the dangers of addiction and the devastating consequences it can bring. Anonymous Spectator Story. Final moral. In the pursuit of justice, we must confront the harsh realities of addiction and its destructive power. Let the disappearance at Midnight Creek serve as a warning, a reminder to stay vigilant and to protect those we hold dear from the darkness that lurks within.